I almost quit editing. For over a decade, I thought all the mistakes I made meant I wasn't good enough, fast enough, or creative enough. A lot of self-doubt built up in me. And even though everyone makes mistakes, the most frustrating part was how long it took for me to notice them. Let me share the ones that held me back the longest, so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. It's pretty fun to chase trends. Whenever a crazy new style, technique, or plugin showed up, I'd be excited to try it out myself. I was cursed with shiny object syndrome. And when I didn't keep up with the latest trends, it triggered this fear that I'd be forgotten, that I wouldn't be relevant anymore. So I cut tighter for retention, made videos about whatever show was trending, and threw on every new transition I learned. But one day I was scrolling through my uploaded videos and something felt off. It was like looking at videos made by a stranger. Did these videos truly represent the kind of work that I wanted to make? The views and comments only validated the version of myself that I was trying to grow out of. But when I thought about the directors and editors that inspired me and shaped my taste, each one of them weren't memorable because they were chasing trends. I got into editing so I could leave an impression the same way they did with me. And that was the moment I knew that I had to make a change that my future self would thank me for. Trends come and go, but your taste is what matters most. There's this weird mindset that I held onto for years. This idea that real editors had to do every part of the process themselves. This belief turned into this unhealthy pride of avoiding pre-made assets, templates, or overlays, even if they would actually help. So I learned After Effects to build motion graphics from scratch, and I filmed my own overlays. But here's the thing, my projects would never get done on time because shortcuts felt like cheating. But then something changed. I was scrolling for inspiration on Instagram one day, as all burnt out editors do, and boom, inspiration actually hit. A promo video with the look and texture I've been chasing after landed on my feed. It was an ad from Happy Editing. Ads on Instagram usually deserve a bit of like a swatting away like an annoying pest, but the way they blended gritty sci-fi overlays with cool B-roll made something click. It shattered my weird belief that using pre-made assets would weaken my creativity. That's why it's crazy this video you're watching right now is sponsored by Happy Editing, because it feels full circle. I've been using their assets for years now, and it's made such a big difference in the quality of my work. Their overlays, transitions, and templates have helped my edits feel more cohesive. Using pre-made assets isn't cheating when they're made by artists who understand the look that you're trying to achieve and even inspire your own work. It actually feels like a collaboration instead of compromising my vision. Check this out. Here is a B-roll sequence that works fine on its own, but when I add some overlays and sound effects from Happy Editing, it brings the edit to life and feels like everything belongs in the same world. I don't just trust their assets because I like how they look. A lot of their overlays are drag and drop, which has saved me so many times for client projects with an impossible deadline. Anytime a client asks for a bit more style, their master bundle is what I open first. If you want to try it out yourself, you can click the link below or pop up right over here. A huge thank you to Happy Editing for sponsoring this video. So none of us get into video editing to make crappy videos. Most editors want every cut to feel as good as the work that inspired them. So I told myself that if I put in the hours, I'll eventually get there. 7 years of professional work had to be enough, right? But somehow, the gap still felt massive. And it was on that 7th year where I thought to myself for the very first time, maybe I just wasn't meant to be a great editor. After trying to examine where I went wrong after scrolling through my most recent cuts, there it was, the pattern holding me back the most. Every video was being polished to death. I spent so much time trying to tweak tiny details because I was terrified of sharing something that didn't live up to my standards. And when the pandemic hit, for the very first time, I didn't have client deadlines forcing me to finish anything. And my perfectionism finally caught up to me. Without those deadlines, finishing passion projects felt impossible, because why would I bother creating something that didn't feel perfect? But eventually, the feeling of not making anything at all became heavier than the fear of imperfection. So I tried something. What if I just gave myself one day to make tiny passion projects? That way, there's low expectations and low commitment. After posting one after another, I started to notice what I actually enjoyed editing. Even if it was janky, it was through that process that I discovered more of my creative taste. And I know, it sounds silly time boxing yourself when, I don't know, for me, I always wanted more time to think through my ideas. But having a hard stop made me focus on what really mattered, actually finishing the edit. Because I was so aware of my shiny object syndrome from mistake number 1, I threw myself to the opposite direction. I started ignoring every new feature and update. Because if the way that I've been editing has worked for so many years, why fix something that isn't broken? Everyone would be praising these new gen tools, and I kept telling myself I didn't need them. But deep down, I knew something was off. Why was everyone else using them but me? And it turns out, I was just scared. I didn't want to admit that I'd spent years doing it the hard way the whole time. And because of that, I fell behind. Not relative to other creators, but just falling behind on the ideas that I wanted to bring to life. Eventually, I forced myself to try a couple of new tools. So I used ChatGPT to proofread my scripts. I used AutoCut to remove pauses between takes. And I used generative fill to clean up shots that would have taken hours in seconds. These are all AI tools because they're the most relevant right now, and I hated the idea of using them because every time I saw AI slop on my feed, it made me want to avoid being grouped in with that. But the way I use these tools are usually less apparent, and these new gen tools help remove that friction that keeps me from bringing my ideas to life. Now, I still don't chase every new update or tool or plugin or whatever, but just being willing to try things has been such a huge part in my growth as an editor. If you're someone who knows that you should try things, but change feels really hard or heavy, check out my community frame by frame. I built it for creators who feel stuck and need help building momentum in what they do. Check it out if you haven't joined, and thank you to this month's Kaizen members. This final mistake makes me feel like a bit of a hypocrite because it basically goes against my previous two, but hear me out. When you finally break out of perfectionism and start posting more, the growth makes you believe that the answer is to simply do more. And with all these new tools that make editing faster, min-maxing my productivity felt like the obvious next step. Seeing each video being completed faster made me feel like I was killing it. But not too long after, I started to feel like something was wrong. The business side of me, the hustle culture side, was tearing against my artist side. And it was only a couple years ago when I realized I stopped having fun editing videos. I wasn't experimenting or doing passion projects, and even with the help of AI, instead of using the machine, I became the machine. I took some time to really reflect on the major turning points of my journey to see if there was a pattern. And the answer that I found wasn't from working with big brands or celebrities or from working faster into burnout. Each positive change came from following my own curiosity. What if I made a tutorial like a dystopian sci-fi film? What if I edited my YouTube videos like I do with commercials? I listened to my own tastes instead of someone else's vision. And in a time where so much content is starting to look the same, the only thing that truly separates you is your taste. Efficiency might remove friction, but if you really want to grow as an editor, you have to protect the part of you that edits because you love it.